Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us today for the webinar on National Agricultural Library Support for NIFA grant applicants. My name is Doug Rose, and I'm the Administrative Operations Officer at USDA, National Institute of Food and Agriculture. NIFA leadership, our director, Dr. Manjit Misra, and associate directors, Dr. Dion Toombs and Drenda Williams, are in travel or have prior commitments and are unable to be here today. They want me to convey their greetings on behalf of the agency and the Research, Education, and Economics Resource Mission Area. The READ Mission Area is dedicated to the creation of a safe, sustainable, competitive U.S. food and fiber system and strong, healthy communities, families, and youth through integrated research, analysis, and education. READ Mission Area is composed of the Office of Chief Scientist and 4 agencies: Agricultural Research Service, Economics Research Service, National Agricultural Statistics Service, and the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. NIFA provides leadership and funding for research, education, and outreach programs that advance agricultural and related sciences. The National Agricultural Library is part of the Agricultural Research Service and one of the 5 national libraries of the United States. NAL is the premier agricultural research library in the world and houses one of the largest collections devoted to food and agriculture and related sciences. Today's presentation by Jessica Alt and Dawana James Holly is an example of the partnership by the Agricultural Research Service and the National Institute of Food and Agriculture to enhance access and to broaden participation in our programs. As you will hear from Jessica and Dawana, the National Ag Library has excellent resources to help you write competitive applications and enhance your teachings, research, and outreach capacities. The interest in such joint outreach is indicated by your attendance and participation in our events. More than 400 people had registered, and I expect more to join. Thank you for joining us today, and I'm confident that you will take with you many useful information. Before we start, some housekeeping requests. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available on the NIFA website in a few days. One of my colleagues will post the link to the site on the chat. Please feel free to ask your questions on the chat, and Jessica and Dawana will answer the questions as time permits. In May 2023, NIFA had a grant support technical assistance webinar with many useful presentations on accessing grant program information and on writing successful grant applications. A recording is available on our website, and a link will be posted on the chat. Finally, we always need your feedback about this webinar and other potential ideas to enhance technical assistance. Feedback and suggestions can be sent to the Admin Ops email address posted on the chat. Without further ado, I will welcome Jessica and Dawana to introduce themselves and begin their presentation.
Thank you so much, Doug. My name is Jessica Alt, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am a white female and have long brown hair and am wearing a dark purple shirt. I am the Training and Outreach Librarian with the Customer Services Unit here at the National Agricultural Library, or NAL, as I will be referring to it throughout this presentation. I am joined by my colleague, Dawana James Holly. Dawana, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jessica. I am Dawana James Holly, and I am an African-American female. I am wearing a dark gray dress with accessories, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. My background is in the field of nutrition, and I'm really excited about this opportunity because this is my 10th year in the Department of Agriculture. I currently serve as a technical information specialist at the National Agricultural Library, and I'm also the Executive Director of Employee Engagement at the National Agricultural Library. It is a pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you, Dewana. We are also joined by two of our colleagues, Stephanie Ritchie, who is the lead librarian for customer service, and Nino Chankeli, who works with our Ag Data Commons and data services, and they will be able to answer some questions in the Q&A as they come up. And we will also have a long time for questions at the very end of the session. We are all happy to share with you how resources available through NAL can support you in the NIFA grant application process. These slides will be shared after the presentation, and we have included slides at the end that have links to all of the resources we mention in the presentation, as well as some other helpful resources that we think you may find useful. Our objectives today are to introduce the freely available research tools and services of the National Agricultural Library, and to learn how to use these tools and services to conduct research and support research grant applications. We will start with an overview of NAL. Then we will go over how NAL products and services can support you in research project development, building your bibliography and references cited, and other NIFA supplemental information. We will also share information about public access requirements. And then, like I said, we will have plenty of time at the end for a question and answer session. So please feel free to use the Q&A box for any questions that might arise during this presentation. To start, a bit about NAL in general. Many NAL products and services have been developed to meet this mission stated here. And these are all based in our collections containing millions of items and our role as a repository of USDA produced and funded research information. We serve a variety of patrons, including scientists and others across USDA, consumers, and the general public, including dietitians, animal welfare professionals, and others who need their research needs met. We have millions of print and physical format items that are housed in the NAL building at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center in Maryland, just outside of DC. As Doug mentioned, we are one of 5 US national libraries, along with the National Library of Medicine, the Library of Congress, the National Transportation Library, and the National Library of Education. NAL is a congressionally designated depository for US government documents, and we also serve as the departmental library for USDA. We'd like to offer a bit of an orientation to our website. As you can see, we offer both searching and browsing. You can use the search box up here in the top right of any page to search our content. And if you scroll down, you can see some of our highly used resources. The top navigation bar here allows you to browse by topic. Right here, as shown, there are the first 6, but to click on all topics and it will open up all of the various topics that we have pages and information on. Our research tools, including PubAg, Ag Data Commons, and other databases, and I will highlight those throughout this presentation. We also have our collections, including our digital collections, exhibits, and special collections. Again, I will highlight some of those as we continue. And our data repositories and services under this tab. And then finally, our other services, including reference and research. The library is led by the director, Paul Wester, and Scott Hanscom is the deputy director. We comprise 4 divisions, each with unique but interrelated roles at the library. Our Information Technology Division oversees our IT needs in coordination with the USDA's Office of the Chief Information Officer, or OCIO. Our Data Products Division oversees materials, both physical and electronic content, as they are acquired, managed, and preserved. The Information Products Division covers public-facing outreach and researcher services. And finally, the Knowledge Services Division handles research data management, collection, and special projects at USDA that are focused on data. Our information centers are part of our Information Products Division and cover a variety of topics related to agriculture and rural life, including animal science, food safety and nutrition, water, sustainability, regulations, etc. They are staffed by an array of specialists, including librarians, archivists, data curators, technical information specialists, and dietitians. We also have a law librarian, a 508 compliance officer, and even a Wikipedian in residence. We will share more about our Wikipedia edit-a-thons later in this presentation. These teams of subject matter experts and librarians develop web and social media content, conduct communications on NAL resources and services, respond to reference and research support requests, establish partnerships on mutually beneficial roles, and participate in training and outreach events like this one with library users and stakeholders. So now I will share a bit about each of our information centers. We have our Animal Welfare Information Center, which provides information and training for improved animal care and use in research, testing, teaching, and exhibition. The Agricultural Law Information Partnership is a collaboration between the National Agricultural Library, the National Agricultural Law Center, and the Center for Agriculture and Food Systems at Vermont Law School. This partnership supports the dissemination of agricultural and food law information to consumers, researchers, and legal professionals. Our Food and Nutrition Information Center delivers credible, accurate, and practical resources for nutrition and health professionals, educators, government personnel, and consumers, including nutrition.gov. Our Food Safety Research Information Office's mission is to support the needs of the food safety research community to prevent the unintended duplication of food safety research and to assess food safety research needs and priorities. The National Invasive Species Information Center is a gateway to invasive species information covering federal, state, local, and international sources. The Rural Information Center provides information and referral services to funding sources and relevant programs for those working to maintain the vitality of America's rural areas. The Water and Agriculture Information Center collects, organizes, and communicates the scientific findings, educational methodologies, and public policy issues related to water resources and agriculture. The alternative, sorry, I'm getting a notice that I've been muted, so hopefully you can hear me. The Alternative Farming Systems Information Center focuses on sustainable, organic, and other agricultural systems that enhance local food systems and marketing through information and research services for farmers and consumers. I will now turn it over to Dewana, who will share about research project development.
Thank you, Jessica. I'll first start with the NAL newest comprehensive search page. Next slide. Which covers literature across 3 NAL databases, including Agricola, which is NAL's catalog and ag article index, PubAg, which provides full text documents of USDA funded research, and NAL's own digital collections. It contains a range of historical materials. Across all 3 databases, there is access to more than 8 million records dating as far back as the 15th century. Both print and electronic materials are available from the collection and include scientific research, policy documents, technical reports, and historical documents. Next slide. One of the databases that I mentioned is PubAg. In addition to citations in the agricultural sciences, PubAg offers free public access to the best available full-text version of USDA-funded scholarly publications. These can be either peer-reviewed articles or those accepted for manuscripts or published scientific journal articles. In most cases, free public access to full text will occur after at least a 12-month administrative interval. Access will be provided earlier in cases when the publisher makes a full text version available for free, and this can be shared earlier than the 12-month period. Next slide. NAL has 8 key information centers, which were shared with you by Jessica earlier in the presentation. The Food Safety Research Information Office is one of those information centers that operates a key customized tool called the Research Projects Database. It tracks food safety research that is funded by federal and non-federal food safety organizations to better coordinate research planning and to minimize duplication of food safety research. It also has a filtering option to sort keyword results by relevance, title, or date. Patrons can also filter results on the very left of the navigation menu, and this can be a good way to see what research areas receive funding and from which agencies. In addition, it also shows gaps in food safety research funding, so it helps scientists to identify where there is a need. Next slide. Other customized tools include the Food Safety and Nutrition Research Publications applications. These databases provide ready access to research publications. They are oftentimes available ahead of print. These resources are generated from a fully automated system called HUGIN. HUGIN was implemented at the library in fiscal year 20, and it populates new publications in live time several times throughout each day. Next slide. Another tool often used by many scientists is Google Scholar. I will let you know that access to full text will depend on your institution's access to this resource. Next slide. But Google Scholar allows its users to search up to 5 libraries. To add your library, you will use the drop-down menu next to Google Scholar and select Settings. The settings is located on your slide in the red arrow. From the settings menu, thank you, choose library links, which will open a search box. Type the name of your institution in the search box. You can then enter up to 5 libraries from which to show library access links. If you're interested in adding the USDA National Agricultural Library to your account, be sure there's a check mark next to the name of the library. Next slide. Another one of the 8 NAL key information centers that was spoken about today is the Animal Welfare Information Center. Its acronym is pronounced AWIC, which provides free reference and literature search assistance for questions about animal welfare, including animal use alternatives. The team of subject matter experts and librarians within this information center can either answer questions or complete the search for you. You can fill out the form available through the link on this slide and just email it directly to one of these specialists. The timeline for searches is 10 business days, and you should be rest assured that your protocol is kept completely confidential. Next slide. The NAL Special Collections Division collects and preserves resources that tell the history of agricultural research and practice, USDA, and rural life. Collections include records and archives of organizations, personal papers of individuals, rare books, objects, photographs, posters, films, and other unique materials. Next slide. The NAL website also hosts a growing number of digital collections. These can be used to show historical context. We have a partnership with the Internet Archive to digitize collection materials in a variety of collections. Some examples are listed on this slide, and they include the Historical Dietary Guidance Digital Collection, which includes guidance from nutrition research dating back to the 1890s. It's really incredible to see how recommendations have changed over the decades, and these are really great tools that allow you to see the transitions. Other collections include Organic Roots, which shows the history of organic farming in this country, USDA publications, and the USDA Pomological Watercolors collection. All of our collections have copyright-free images available for download that can be used in presentations and outreach. But once again, this is now accessible to you from the search page that I mentioned previously. NAL Scientific Data Services resource provides services based on broad informatics and research data management expertise. It also offers subject-specific focused information, which includes biological sciences, geospatial and biophysical sciences, genomics, federal data policy, and life cycle assessment. Our subject matter specialists who manage these tools are embedded in research communities. They lead or participate in working groups and communities of practice. They're very knowledgeable and understand the needs and challenges of our customers. They also develop customer-driven requirements for tools and the services that we provide. They raise awareness about recommended data stewardship practices, existing tools and services in support of data management in the context of customer objectives. But in addition to this, they also provide policy input, and they really work to establish relationships of trust and foster new collaborations. I'll now transition and turn over the next topic to Jessica to discuss bibliography and references cited.
Thank you, Dewana. So for your bibliography and references cited, NAL provides some guidance, and I will also discuss a couple of open source citation managers that you may find helpful. So first, through our new search interface, you can view and export citation data into a variety of formats, as you can see here under export, including Excel, BibTeX, and RIS files for citation managers. If you have access to EndNote, you can also add a citation directly into that. Our special collections team has provided a helpful copyright and citation guide for their collections. If you are using any materials from the special collections, visit this page. We have the link right here. This provides valuable copyright and citation information for use of these special agricultural materials. So while these are not provided by NAL, we wanted to point out some citation management software that can help you to store, organize, annotate, and share your references for research. The role of reference management tools is to really help you save time. You can directly import citations from databases by downloading in different file types. It gives you some organization capabilities. It helps you to deduplicate your results. They have a tool that identifies the duplicates, and then you can manually make sure that you are keeping all of the best information on each citation. They also allow you to collaborate and share with your colleagues, and they have integration with word processing software. Please note that your library may offer support for reference management, so we encourage you to reach out to them if you would like any support for these tools. Two open source options are Zotero and Mendeley. Zotero is free and open source, as mentioned. It runs as a web service and also as an offline service. Zotero stores and formats your bibliographic information and also allows you to organize, tag, and search this information. It collects information from books, journal articles, and other online sources. There's also a browser extension that can be used to add web pages or individual articles to your folders. One of my favorite tools in this is there's a kind of a magic wand tool. You can enter a DOI and it will pull in all of the related information for that citation. And so it definitely saves a lot of time. Mendeley is used for collaborative work as it allows you to connect with colleagues and share your papers, notes, and annotations. It can be used on your computer via the web or also through your iPhone or iPad. If you need assistance downloading citations, again, we suggest that you contact your library because every database is slightly different. They all ultimately get you to the same point, though. I've also included a slide at the end with links to online trainings for these tools. So NIFA requires a few pieces of supplemental information that NAL can help support. Our data services team supports USDA and external agricultural research communities in the development of data management plans and data description, ensuring that it is fair, machine readable, curated metadata, and sharing for access, discovery, and integration and reuse. Our team has current domain and related informatics expertise that includes biological sciences, geospatial and biophysical sciences, genomics, federal open data policy, and life cycle assessment. These have been developed in close collaboration with partners in the agricultural research data ecosystem and help to comply with federal policies. So why create a DMP? in part because it is required. And there are also many reasons why a solid data management plan is important and helpful. Data are valuable and often unique assets that should be properly managed in order to be accessible, understandable, and reusable into the future. Sometimes referred to as the Force 11 OPA data FAIR principles, the goal of a DMP is to form a blueprint to follow in order to make data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. FAIR is mostly applicable to these steps after data is released, whereas a DMP also covers the part of the cycle before the data are released. So a DMP ensures that data are kept safe and understandable both during and after projects, and that can save you time. The guidelines we will present in this webinar are specific to USDA-supported data, follow US federal public access and open data directives, and comply with a broad range of current funding agency requirements for DMPs. So in other words, DMPs may be more work on the front end, but a well thought out plan will save you lots of time, money, and headaches throughout the life cycle of the data. So as mentioned, NIFR requires a data management plan for all competitive grant programs. NAL provides data management guidance that incorporates federal directives on public access and open data and helps to comply with a broad range of current DMP requirements for funding agencies. NAL provides general DMP resources on our website, including Find a Data Repository, Data Management Glossary, and Data Management videos. So if you are producing data, we definitely recommend that you check out these wonderful services here. Thesauri are also helpful tools. You may be familiar already with PubMed's MeSH. The NAL thesaurus serves the same purpose. You can type in a keyword using the search bar, and NALT will search over 265,000 terms and provide a listing of related terms. Each entry includes hierarchical, equivalence, and other relationships among concepts. This can help you in a variety of ways, including while you're developing your searches, but it can also help to develop keywords, which is one of the supplemental sections that NIFR requires. The NALT may also be used in AI projects and in software applications as well. So moving on to public access requirements, there are many benefits of public access and open science, including facilitating information sharing globally and preserving vital findings of research so they are available for years to come, creating an information resource for searching publications and showing impact, and enhancing discovery and access to research outcomes and products supported by USDA, as well as facilitating collaboration across the federal departments. So the next few slides will show how NAL in particular supports public access. NAL supports the USDA's efforts to meet public access requirements for all USDA-supported research publications. Oh, don't know why that advanced. Including peer-reviewed scholarly publications and digital scientific research data. Public access is defined by access to information that is available to the public. Of course, that does not necessarily mean free, as there are restrictions for reuse and redistribution that may apply. USDA policy on public access is consistent with requirements laid out in a memorandum from the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. This memorandum directed federal agencies with more than $100 million in annual conduct of research and development expenditures to develop public access plans for the results of federally funded, unclassified research that are published in peer-reviewed publications and digitally formatted scientific data. This includes research funded wholly or in part even by USDA. Two NAL products that support these public access requirements are PubAg and Ag Data Commons. For publications, NAL hosts PubAg, which was mentioned previously. This applies to peer-reviewed journal articles. Final peer-reviewed accepted manuscripts must be freely available to the public through PubAg within 12 months of publication, and the final published article may also be submitted. For data assets, we have Ag Data Commons. This applies to digitally formatted scientific research data assets. All scientific research is expected to produce digital data assets must be accompanied by a reviewed and approved data management plan, as mentioned earlier, consistent with agency policies and procedures. This includes a plan for public access or reasons for a public access exemption. Data sets must be made freely available to the public within 30 months of data collection. If not in Ag Data Commons, then you create a catalog record to register and point to the repository that is holding the data. So again, in order to submit to PubAg, the manuscript must either be completely or partially funded by USDA. The article must also have been accepted for publication in a peer-reviewed journal. To submit your manuscript, you would visit the manuscript submissions page available here. Log in using USDA's eAuth service as prompted. If you do not already have a login, you can register for a customer account through that page. There are two options for submission, with a DOI or without a DOI. If you do not have a DOI, you will have to manually enter your manuscript information. If you do have a DOI, we recommend using it because it will automatically pull in the relevant information to the fields that are required. We definitely recommend that you review and verify that the information is correct and make corrections as needed. And when you're selecting your funding agency, choose NIFA from the drop-down menu. A peer-reviewed accepted manuscript is defined as the author's final version of a publisher-accepted peer-reviewed article. This will have the same content as the final published article, but will not include anything done by the publisher of the peer-reviewed scholarly journal, such as copy editing, style or formatting edits that count as the final version of record. So the final published article includes the copy editing and all of the edits made by the publisher. And then the publisher provides free access to the VOR that would be considered the best available version, and then PubAg will then link to that. NAL also hosts Ag Data Commons, which is a catalog and data repository for USDA supported data. Ag Data Commons provides services to create, curate, and enable access to machine-readable scientific metadata, or FAIR data, as mentioned previously. This creates an infrastructure for linking information, data, publications, and people, and helps the USDA-supported research community meet public access requirements. From this customer-centric perspective, the Ag Data Commons functions can be considered as a set of services. And this is all in accordance with the new departmental regulation. All USDA-supported researchers must ensure a catalog entry is created in the Ag Data Commons for their research data outcomes. Cataloging data in Ag Data Commons also facilitates cross-domain discovery of agricultural research data from a broad variety of disciplines. Repository services are complementary. And if you cannot find a subject-specific or community-specific public access repository for your data, you can consider depositing it into one of the generalist repositories issuing PIDs, including Ag Data Commons. All data sets deposited to the Ag Data Commons do receive DOIs, so that can be very helpful in sharing and disseminating your final research outcomes. So you can create catalog records through an individual catalog entry, or it can be harvested from selected sources. Training and assistance for data submissions are available. The webpage provided here has a submission manual and provides the policies and helpful videos to help guide the submission process. You can also email our ADC data curators for help or submit a request through the Ask a Question form on the NAL website. As a heads up, in the near future, Ag Data Commons will be migrating to a new platform, so please keep your eye out for that. And I will now hand it back to Dawana for this next section.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm now going to transition to talk about trainings, events, and collaborations. This is a section about the ways that you can get involved with our agency. Next slide. I'll begin with training opportunities that are available to you through the Animal Welfare Information Center workshops, followed by data management workshops, food and nutrition outreach and tool trainings, such as the Food Data Central resource. This is a resource that is a nutrient profile database, the Food Keeper app, and/or the Dietary Reference Intakes Calculator, or any other customized resources that may be of interest to your university. Next slide. The Animal Welfare Information Center offers a workshop on meeting the requirements of the Animal Welfare Act 3 times a year. These are virtual workshops that provide an overview of the Animal Welfare Act, a review of the alternatives to animal use, and guidance on literature searching. The next one is approaching and it's coming up in October. And if you're interested, you can register online. Next slide. Okay. Okay, the Ag Law Partnership at NAL hosts library speaker series on various topics. They also feature special presentations, which are followed by a Wikipedia editathon. The editathon furthers engagement on the featured topic and offers enriched content for the future of these topics that are shared on Wikipedia. For example, we have an upcoming editathon on September the 7th. There will be a speaker presentations on food safety and climate change during this time, followed by a Wikipedia editathon where experts will host a training to update specific Wikipedia web pages about the featured topic. In addition, the Ag Law Partnership provides equity-based series of events. Events are focused on emerging topics and attendee or patron requests and trends. So if there's something of interest to our community, then that will become an emerging topic. Speakers come from grassroots and are directly involved in the issue or have personal experience about the topic that is presented. Events offer legal information and resources, personal experiences, and actionable items or ways to get involved in equity-focused topics. You should also note that NAL has hosted several editathons with a focus on issues pertaining to diversity and inclusion. These pictured here in this slide are just a single example of what is shared, and many of our public-facing events have had sessions focused on highlighting minority group contributions and also extensive history in that topic area. Next slide. You should know that between 2021 to 2023, the Animal Welfare Information Center also provided 14 trainings to HBCUs on topics including the 3 Rs. The 3 Rs represent replacement, reduction, and refinement of animal use. They also presented on database and literature searching, Animal Welfare Act history, and careers in animal science and welfare. They also work collectively and collaboratively with the Library of Congress to identify materials from their programs to support their community needs through several academic and public libraries. Lastly, I'd like to share other possible collaborations that can be made available to you. These, again, can include customized topical presentations from any of the 8 information centers that were shared with you throughout this presentation. I did speak about the Wikipedia editathons. We can talk about that. Joint virtual food and ag programming for faculty, students, and the general public. So we can work with you in order to provide messages that would be appropriate for your students at your universities. But also the creation of customized web content and internships. We host USDA 1994 fellow students at the National Agricultural Library. We also host Terra Preta Indo-Tribal fellowships for faculty or staff, and our internships can be virtual or in person. If you have technical questions for the library, you can also send them via email. Most questions are answered within 5 business days of receipt. And if you'd like to speak to one of us directly, you can call the main library. And so that phone number is listed on this slide, in addition to the link to send questions that we will respond to within those 5 days. So this concludes the presentation for today, and I now want to transition to the Q&A. And I think we just need a moment to see what the questions are. Thank you.
Okay, I have stopped sharing, and I figure that this is a good time to open up for any questions that we might have. And so
there was one question I said I could answer live. It was
great.
a question about if we offer continuing education units for the trainings. And I would say the answer is we can make that available because the range of topics that we cover at NAL correspond to many different professional organizations that require CEUs. We generally tend to work directly with the organizations that are requiring the CEUs, and then work through the training that we have available to see how that can meet the requirements that they have. So I can't say 100% yes or no, but I can say that we would be willing to work with the organizations that are requiring the CEUs. So if you see a training that you're interested in and you think it would go towards a particular requirement for continuing education, reach out to us and connect us with that organization, and we can see if that would be possible.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stephanie. And then another question that I'm seeing in the Q&A that has not yet been answered, and I think Dewana, you might be one who could help answer this. Do you offer the library speaker series to community organizations?
Okay, well, I know that there are several partners that we work with. Sometimes they may be community organizations that work with you at the university level. We work closely with the land-grant university system, and so that may mean that those are community partners that you may have, but we don't work directly with industry or community organizations that are not partners of those of you who are at the university level.
Okay, and I see, Doug, you have your hand raised. Is this to add to this?
Well, I just wanted to mention that everyone can submit questions to the Admin Ops inbox, and we can, if they're not answered today, or if for some reason somebody thinks of questions later, submit the questions to the Admin Ops inbox. The address is posted to the chat, and then we will put together an FAQ and then also post it to our site as well. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doug. And then there's a question about, are there recordings of the library speaker series? And that I believe so, but I would have to confirm. Dewana, are you aware?
Yes, they are recorded and the recordings are posted to our website. And so we can add to the FAQ document and share links with you as to where presentations are made available.
Okay, wonderful. And then we have another question: who should we contact to discuss a collaboration? So I think probably using our contact us form, depending on the type of collaboration, we would connect you with the right person for that. So I'll get the link put there in the Q&A box.
And I was just also gonna chime in here to talk about our chat service, because when you contact us, you can chat in. So if you really want to get a hold of someone right away, we staff our chat 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. And there's usually a librarian or someone who's fairly knowledgeable about all the programs across NAL. So they will try to answer your question in the chat. And then if they're not able to answer it immediately, about partnering and things like that, they will connect your question to an expert. And we try to answer everything within 24 to 48 hours, sometimes a little longer if it requires a lot of research. So, and if the chat service is unavailable, then there is an email form available to contact us. And again, we will be responsive. You usually hear from us by the next business day.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to point out that 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. is Eastern time. So for those of you across the country, that time is going to be a little different, but those are our standard hours. And that's also business days and not on federal holidays. So if the library is closed, the chat is closed. Just want to manage expectations. Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay. Okay, just a comment. Thank you. Very informative session. So thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. Yes, yes. Thank you to our wonderful interpreter, Antonio. I am always impressed with the work that our sign language interpreters do. Okay, and we have another question. During the presentation, you addressed databases. How can researcher use these to determine a need or find awards? Okay, that's a really good question. So as Dawana mentioned, for the research projects database, that's specifically for food safety research, but that, you know, can highlight some of the areas of food safety research that are, you know, being focused on, and that can also obviously show a dearth in funding for certain areas that may be emerging. And then to identify awards, really, again, the research projects database is really wonderful because it highlights the agencies and organizations that fund food safety research, but a lot of those agencies and organizations also fund other type of grants. And so that can be a good resource to find assorted funding agencies. And unfortunately, we don't create a product that allows you to just search and find awards. There is a database that may be available through your institution or maybe a public library in your area, and that is called Foundation Directory Online. And so that provides information about grant makers and grant opportunities there. So I hope that helps to answer your question. And then we have a question, what is a DOI? And I know, Nina, it looks like she's typing an answer in there, but I can also answer that live. DOI is a digital object identifier. So that is a unique identifier that is assigned to a digital object, or in this case, it would be a research publication. So again, it's a unique identifier that helps to, I guess, provide a link to your research. Yeah, Stephanie, you might be able to.
I was going to say it is also a persistent identifier. So while URLs will change over time, the DOI is meant to be sort of like the social security number of that publication or that data set. So all the URLs can always point back to the DOI of the item. And it also helps to uniquely identify that item. All of us might be aware of situations maybe where journal articles are published in a series and the titles are very similar and the authors are similar. So sometimes, you know, the DOI can really help differentiate, especially if a long title is truncated, and that truncated part of the title actually has the unique part of the title to help you differentiate it from another article in the series.
Yes, thank you for that additional information. So there's another question. Collaboration, I believe, is for education purposes and not industrial purpose. Yes. So thank you for that clarification. And I will just type yes in the chat too. Okay. Oh, okay. This is a question I think we'll have to answer in an FAQ later. Is there a process to archive and maintain websites of multi-year, multi-partner institutions once the grant is over?
I'm
Do
gonna
you know?
try to answer that. So if there is content on the website, we are working with NIFA to try to retain the content. So let's say the website is hosting publications or videos, although we're not really there yet with the multimedia, but for sure with documents, we're trying to figure out what that process looks like for documents that maybe are not technically research documents. But we also have a relatively new program at NAL for web archiving. And so we've partnered with many universities and institutions that had pages up to address the COVID-19 pandemic. And we captured snapshots of how agriculture departments across the country responded to that emergency. So it could have been fact sheets they created or websites they put up with, you know, food safety and food access guidance, those kinds of things. And so one solution to this might be doing a small project with our web archivists at NAL to capture the content of the website. But we would definitely be working with whoever the, you know, grant officer is at NIFA to determine what the plans are for the project's life cycle and determine if web archiving was the right solution for the materials.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. I was not aware of that. So, okay, and I'm just trying to, I think I typed up a bunch of what you said, so I just wanted to include it. Okay.
I was going to say, feel free to reach out to us and we can put you in touch with additional folks at NAL that would have more information than we have in the moment. And, you know, you may have very specific concerns. And we're also happy to get in touch with the folks at NIFA that you might be working with on a specific project to make sure the information is preserved.
Okay, USDA has over 200 agencies that your agency doesn't work directly with. I believe for grant purposes, it should be educational. Oh, that's okay. So I'm guessing that's a follow-up to the previous question about the collaborations. So I'm just trying to make sense of combine these two questions. I think
if you have additional clarification about for grant, working with us for grant purposes. So I would, yes, okay. I'd say generally the mission of the library is to support researchers and the public doing work in agricultural areas, and then to do education and outreach on the services and resources we have to support that. But we do not, you know, partner in like development of technologies, those kinds of collaborations.
Okay.
Although I do want to add the caveat now that I'm thinking about the question a little bit more. We are open to the public. So we do have commercial entities that do contact us sometimes for research support. So if the end purpose of the grant is commercialization, that does not mean that you cannot use the NAL services. We are happy to, you know, help with direct you towards research and information to help with your you know, product development or intellectual property development that you might be working with. We're just not usually involved with the later stages. We're usually support kind of at the beginning as you're doing background research and compiling supporting information.
I don't see any new questions coming in.
I don't either. So Okay, I think maybe I'll just give it 30 more seconds to see if we have any other questions. We don't want to hold people here sitting in silence. Okay, so thank you, Bonita. Okay. Okay, well, thank you all very much for joining us. Oh, Doug, you have your hand raised. Almost
I was
missed.
getting ready to say what you were starting to say, so go ahead.
Okay, just thank you all for having us, and thank you to our wonderful colleagues from NIFA for joining us in this partnership to share with you all how NAL can support you on your grant application process. And then, I don't know, Doug, if you want to add something, you can gladly have you do that.
Awesome. I know. I just wanted to also thank everyone for taking the time to come and join us presentation today, and to thank the NAL for putting it on and working with NIFA to put this together. Hopefully we'll have more in the future. And, again, thanks everyone for joining. And, if you have any questions, again, submit it to the admin ops. It's adminopsteam.nifa@usda.gov. If you have any questions, we'll definitely get them answered and put them in the FAQ for everyone to look at. The recording will be posted. If you have any colleagues that were unable to attend, please refer them to the site. And again, just appreciate everyone joining. Thank you.
Thank you.